All right, here is the quiz we worked on last Friday, and the answers. Now this is version B, so you'll want to make some minor adjustments when you look at your version to be sure that your version matches up. All the true false here, these 20, are the same on both. They're just in a different order. So let's run down the list. Rhombuses are squares. False. That's the other way around. Squares are rhombuses, but not all rhombuses are squares. If a shape is a trapezoid, then it is not a parallelogram. True. Remember, trapezoids have exactly one pair, parallelograms have exactly two. If it is a rhombus, then it is a square. This is actually the same statement as above, which says that rhombuses are squares. This is the same, and it also is false. All kites are rhombuses, also false. Again, it's backwards. The kite is the larger group, the rhombus is the smaller group. So it's the other way, that rhombuses are in kites. Not all kites are rhombuses. A square has 4 equal sides. True. If it is a rectangle, then it is not a rhombus. That is going to be rectangle, not a rhombus. That is true. It sometimes is true, but not always. Oops. So that would be false then. Oh, wait. Yeah, because of the not. Sometimes it's true. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other. Yes, that's inherited as part of being a parallelogram. If it's a rhombus, they're perpendicular. Also true, part of being a kite. Rhombuses have diagonals, rectangles have diagonals that bisect each other. Inherited from being a parallelogram. A rhombus has 4 right angles. Not necessarily. That's a property of squares and rectangles. A rectangle has 2 pair of parallel sides. True. Comes from being a parallelogram. If a figure is a quadrilateral, then it is a parallelogram. False, again, larger group is coming first. It should be the other way around. A parallelogram has 4 equal sides. False, that's rhombuses and squares. If it is a square, then it is a parallelogram. True. Squares are in the parallelogram group. If it is a rectangle, then it is a square. False. If ABCD is a square, then it is a kite. True. Remember, squares are subcategories of all the other figures. So if it's in the square group, it's in rhombus, rectangle, kite, and parallelogram. Parallelograms have equal length diagonals. No, that's a property of a rectangle. A square has equal length diagonals. That is true. Squares are rectangles. If QRS is a rectangle, then it has perpendicular diagonals. Nope, that's only true if it's a square, or a rhombus, or a kite. If a figure is a square, then it is a quadrilateral. That is true. Moving down here, what is the measure of each interior angle of a regular dodecagon? Now remember with this that we're looking at n minus 2 times 180 tells me the sum. So 12 minus 2 times 180 gives me 10 times 180, or 1800, which I'm then going to divide by the 12. Remember, dodecagon means 12 sides. By the 12 interior angles for 150 degrees each. What is the measure of each exterior angle of a regular heptagon? The sum of the exterior angles is 360 divided by the 7 divided by 7 is 51.4 degrees. 360 is the sum of the exterior angles. Divide by 7, because there are 7 angles in a heptagon, is 51.4 each. And again, it says they're regular, so they're evenly distributed. In this problem, it says find x. Okay, it's right there. Just kidding. It's a parallelogram, so these opposite angles are going to be the opposite sides of the same measurement. So 2x plus 12 is equal to 34. Subtract 12 from both sides gives me 2x is equal to 22, or x is equal to 11. Find the measure of ADC. ADC is right here. It's opposite of B, so it's 114 degrees. 15. ABCD is a rectangle. AD is 15. AC is 25, and DC is 20. BD is right here. Now remember, In a rectangle, the diagonals are the same length. So that means if this diagonal is 25, BD is also 25. Last but not least is 26, our coordinate geometry problem. Prove that the diagonals of quadrilateral ABCD are congruent perpendicular bisectors. The diagonals are AC and BD. Congruent means they have the same length. So the length of AC is going to be -8 minus 4, quantity squared, -2 minus 6, quantity squared. You take the square root of the whole thing. That's the x's and the y's. Take their difference, square them, add them, and then take the square root, the distance formula. So that's -12 squared plus -8 squared is going to be 144 plus 64. And that gives me a square root. Let's see, 144 plus 64. Square root is on the... let me put that in one more time. 144 plus 64. I get the square root of 208. Now, if I do it right, I should show, using the same formula, that BD is also the square root of 208. So make sure you can get that with your own work. Now I want to check to be perpendicular. So that means that the slopes are negative reciprocals. So I'm going to find the slope of AC. That's difference in y, so 6 minus -2, divided by 4 minus -8. So that works out to be 8 over 12 is a slope of, 4 goes into each of those, 2/3. That means when I do the same equation, the slope of BD should equal a -3/2. That would make them perpendicular. And again, your work has to show this. It's not just enough to say like I am here, but for the sake of speed, I'm saying this is what you should get when you apply this formula. Lastly, bisectors. So that means they have the same midpoint. So I look at the midpoint of AC. I do -8 plus 4 divided by 2 and -2 plus 6 divided by 2. Simplify those up. I end up at -4 over 2 and 4 over 2. So -2 comma 2. And that should be the same for each of the two of them. I should get the same midpoint for the other guy. As a last bit of review, let me write down these formulas so you have them in one more time. The distance formula is x1 minus x2 quantity squared plus y1 minus y2 squared, the whole thing square rooted. Slope is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Now notice I'm still using these same ideas of subtracting the x's and subtracting the y's in both formulas. So you're going to see a lot of repetition of numbers within your practice. For example, here I've got the 8 and the 12, and here's the 8 and the 12. But here I'm squaring it and then square rooting. Here I'm just dividing. And the midpoint, remember, it's the average of the two x's and the average of the two y's. All right, I know that was kind of fast. There were a lot of problems here, and I worked through them rather quickly. Hopefully this will kind of help you when you get your quiz to go back through the problems and get a good idea of what you missed. Remember, you can always pause this, watch it step by step, and double check to make sure your work matches mine.